taking risks for IG. You want to try out new strategies, like you mentioned, because maybe that forces NIP to consider something else. Now you know that you've got another strat. Maybe NIP want to ban it out, and at the same time, maybe you want to whip it out against NIP to make the big difference in your season. As it is, Weibo will not be opening with anything particularly crazy. The Nocturne is very strong, but the answer to that for IG going to be Ashe and likely Seraphine alongside it.
Yeah, I would agree. With some of these supports that are out, no Nautilus, no Camille, no Caitlyn, and mostly no Olaf, Ashe Seraphine becomes very strong. This is something we saw a lot of in the beginning of the year. Fall out of meta almost completely, and now feels like we're going full circle back. Kalista Renata is an answer. Very aggressive from Weibo if they want to go towards that in this game. Try to win out on some skirmishing in the bot lane. Could look really nice. I expect jungle answer. Could be a Pantheon here for IG or even the Vi. Pretty decent into the Kalista. But now the Poppy ban makes sense to me. I was like, why are we banning Poppy? Not picking Vi. Maybe Lee Sin. It's for the Kalista.
And I really like this look from Weibo Gaming. They had the option with the Ezreal, we all saw the hover, to just FF the lane. To just let IG walk over it, see what happens later, gamble on Elk being able to play well in team fights. Kalista Renata is not like that. Kalista Renata is a we are going to, with everyone, press R and we are going to bring the fight to you. The kind of way that I want to see Weibo play, push themselves to the limit, especially now that they have literally nothing to lose. Weibo, they've already lost everything. At this point, it is about how far they can push themselves as individual players and as a team, something that this composition actually should work really well with. Nocturne R, Kalista R, Renata R, all those cause big problems for an IG roster that is pretty strong right now. Trundle picked into the Nocturne, not bad.
Yeah, I like it into the Renata, into the Kalista as well. It can really inhibit her ability to be active on a fight. I think Weibo, Aurora could look quite nice, get away from the Trundle, and Nocturne Aurora is always a treat to watch. For IG, though, I think they need a little bit more threat onto the backline. They've got the Seraphine ult and the Trundle, which is nice, but having a little bit more would be really nice, and I think that's why the Akali ban comes through, as that would be one of those answers I'm talking about. Good dive onto the Kalista. Would make a ton of sense. And in the top lane for TheShy, I very likely could... Oh, Jace maybe with the Yorick ban? That's what my mind is thinking about. I would be surprised to see it picked up here. That's not happening. So I'm not going to get baited by that. I would be surprised if Weibo aren't looking for Jace with the Yorick ban. Victor, I like it. So getting some range, make it hard for the Kalista to play, and then save top for counterpick.
One of the things that the IG roster does have going for it is that, in a way that I think Weibo would have really appreciated last game, they're great at absorbing engages. Nocturne's going to press R, Seraphine is going to press W, and they're going to walk this forward after Weibo expend their cooldowns to jump into the middle of them. Galio solves some of that issue in the sense that he makes the engage hit even harder, and it is an arms race of engage versus counter engage. Are we going to get in your face better, or are you going to turn that around better? Right now, the Galio and the Ambessa are two big haymakers you get to throw into the back line that IG have to answer in some way. The Jace, by the way, not a real answer. That is a fake answer and a fake champion. Don't pick it.
I really don't love what Weibo got here. They hovered both the things I spoke about. I spoke about the Aurora with Nocturne, which I was a bigger fan of, and while maybe you might not be a biggest fan of the Jace, it makes sense with the Yorick ban. What doesn't make sense to me is, okay, the Galio, sure, you want a little bit of protection for your Kalista, sure. I'm not I think you need more damage. And then the Ambessa blind, which there's tons of options into. Renekton's one of them. Jax is another one. Gnar that was hovered is another one. This is not at all a blind pickable champion for Zika. Not a huge fan of how this draft ended up for Weibo. Nocturne Kalista Renata is really scary and really aggressive. And then you've got the Galio that might be able to help with some peel, but you're outranged by Ashe Seraphine. The lanes don't look super good in terms of top and mid. And the Trundle, you've given over like subjugate targets now to take these protections away. I think that IG have this really nice skirmishing draft that can fight 2v2s and 5v5s quite well around these dragons, and that's what they excelled at in the last game.
I would agree in the sense that IG probably got away with the better, more flexible draft. And Weibo, I can't lie to you, Jbetto, I like. And it's not because I think that it is objectively the best composition, but I think it is dang easy to do. Everybody, ult. And if it lands, awesome. And if it doesn't, well, at least the team fight is over quickly.
Sometimes the best drafts are the simple ones, and to see if IG can pilot theirs in this second game. I think both sides did their chants at the same time.
No, I'm hearing them separately. Are you not hearing them?
I could have sworn I heard Weibo and IG at the same time. And then, anyway, maybe I'm just hearing things. +5 gold to Xiaohu. Spotted a ward. Big difference in the jungle.
Would have been pretty cool. I don't think that it happened, but it would have been pretty cool if IG was like, you know what? We'll cheer for Weibo as well. That would have been a sweet thing to do. It's not happening because IG do have a lot that they can gain off of this series, or off of this game even. So they can't afford to drop one to Weibo should they want to take the top spot, and I guarantee you that IG fans would like them to take the top spot. As it is, though, we've got a lot of game to play until that becomes an obvious yes or no thing, and JiaQi and Meiko with the Ashe Seraphine are going to be running this lane for now. Meiko gets to slip on forward into Moham and Elk and be a very scary Seraphine, which is always a good feeling. Well, TheShy runs his counter matchup. Renekton into Ambessa. Gnar was a hover here. I think compositionally I liked Gnar a little bit more, but I can't lie. Top laners around the world, they love pressing R, becoming a stat stick, and beating their opponent to death.
They do, and I think Renekton does that pretty well. Xiaohu caught by the pillar. Should be fine with the tether, but Wei exerting his trundle tax. Walk in, that camp's mine. Sorry. Especially when you've got the bot lane priority to match with it. Mid lane can walk over as well. Like I said in the draft, the lanes for Weibo aren't super great. You can see that they've got 3 losing lanes right now. Push in all lanes for IG. That lets Wei do kind of whatever he wants. And not really... TheShy?
TheShy is
a kill?
diving.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. But nice attempt.
That would have been a situation where he shocks everyone, probably including himself, if he has the damage for that. He doesn't get anything out of Zika either, which is interesting. It's, you know, flash for nothing. But it is not the most TheShy moment that we could have had. He could have died, and that
He
would
could
have
have.
been...
And to be fair, I think either way that play goes, if he continues it, is shocking. Either he gets the kill, and there's absolutely no way that you just found that solo kill angle, or he dies, and everyone's like, why did you do that? Probably not necessary in a matchup that is very Renekton favored. Either way, doesn't die, loses flash for free, doesn't need to do that, but he did. Nice attempt. Xiaohu manages...
It's all good.
Yeah,
Xiaohu's
he's chilling.
Moving up towards the top side, so there is the potential to try and punish TheShy, who does go for a ward, and knowing that just now.
Could go for a gank. Xiaohu, like you mentioned, he'll be spotted on this ward, and TheShy will most likely not fight the 2v1, I assume. He won't. Xiaohu keeping up in terms of XP is pretty important. Want to get that ult online pretty quickly. With the double global as well that Weibo have, maybe you could roam to the top lane and try to find some gold onto the Ambassador, but I think that the real answer is you need to go bot and start to force some volatility in this lane. The Kalista Renata is a lane that can really take over. Rookie nearly finds a solo kill there, but doesn't quite have the mana to keep going, and would probably just only be a flush for flush trade anyway. But if you can use these globals to impact this bot lane, as Xiaohu is here, heal expended just for the movement speed.
This is a really nice hawk shot. Feels bad moment for Xiaohu, who otherwise probably could have cooked up with something, but nice awareness from JiaQi, who has looked really good today, by the way. I mean, not just because we were talking about him in game 1, but JiaQi, especially off that hawk shot, definitely earning respect, given his substitution in.
It's a bit of an all or nothing lane here in the bot lane, and so far not looking super hot. Down about 200 gold. Let's ult out from Rookie just to clear the wave and push Xiaohu out even more. Xiaohu not super far away from level 6.
Xiaohu spent like 80% of this game on vision.
Yeah, not super great for a Nocturne. There's another hawk shot to show where everyone is. Wave is in a great spot for IG too. Weibo losing a lot in that bot lane. So this is like the important level 6 scuttle, but I don't think Nocturne gets 6 because he got invaded earlier. So he doesn't have 6 or upgraded smite. And Wei does. Not going to really matter here a whole ton. Dragon's not being pulled on this, so Xiaohu will get 6 off of his top side. I think just even Raptors will give it to him. And Wei will follow closely behind after he clears out one more camp, which will most likely be his top side, or wrap around and try his luck at a mid gank. Dash is in.
We could see both jugglers go for this here. Xiaohu fails the flash though, and that's the end of that play pretty quickly. Xiaohu is not going to ult for whatever that happened, and that's all good, because Flashless Galio not going to be making any plays anytime soon.
Not great. Missing that flash there from Xiaohu. Bit of a feels bad moment, and again, these lanes are really suffering. Xiaohu down 20 CS. Even though Zika's doing a pretty good job of keeping the CS even, never really in a position to roam or find agency in the lane, and the bot lane is looking probably the worst. Down also about 15 to 20 CS, losing plates, HP bars quite low all the time. And the threat is, like, you need to try to find, like, catches and all-ins with this lane. Elk will hit 6, and maybe you can look at from there, but when Meiko gets 6, the cleanse won't really help Elk a whole lot because there's just so much CC from this bot lane duo. We saw how devastating this pairing can be earlier in this year, but it was really the talk of the league community. Everyone was talking about how strong this Ashe Seraphine duo is. There's nothing you can really play against it. And then some answers did pop up. You know, the Nautilus lanes, really where the majors kind of started. Mel Nautilus, Camille, Ziggs, things like that. And the Olaf looking really good against it. And when those things are out in the draft, which they are right now, Ashe Seraphine pops its head back up and continues to look pretty scary. Xiaohu in the bot does have ult.
As ever, he is perfectly on vision, but that's not going to stop us from all pressing R at the same time, and maybe, just maybe, killing JiaQi. That is the first kill on the board for Weibo, and it is as it was written, Jbetto. Everybody press R, kill IG.
Yep. And that's the all-in that Weibo needed to find. Shy taking quite a decent chunk here. It's flashing from Elk.
Forward from Elk. Got a Galio coming in behind him as well. Knockup going to land on Wei, but Wei beats Elk down with the butt of his, what is that called? Club. Meiko gonna watch his jungler die. We're going 1 for 1 once again. Jungler 480 carry, but crucially, although maybe not importantly in the grand scheme of things, the dragon is still up.
Not a huge fan of that call from Elk. He's definitely the one that pulls the trigger there with the flash engage on the Kalista. Much prefer just getting the dragon. You have your lead, no need to die and lose priority around the dragon, give Ash Seraphine an in back into the lane, and now no flashes on a lot of members. Means these fights are can be a lot more bloody. But there's the fight Weibo wanted earlier, right? Which we might get a replay of. Paranoia looks great. The engage from Moham is nice too. Get the cleanse out of JiaQi, and even though the Encore hits onto Xiaohu, it doesn't really make a difference as his spell shield is there. And then, yeah, I would love to see it as well, what Elk saw to look for that engage. So I don't think he was really... It seemed like he was pretty frustrated in the player cam. Maybe wanted to press E just before he died, didn't get the damage off, and Xiaohu will come back down, end up securing the dragon. So all in all, not the worst position for Weibo as the Grubs get traded.
How's the Grubs trade for IG here? Tower pressure-wise, they definitely have a little bit more range to make it work. I mean, I think this is a trade up for IG, just looking at the fact that they have the incredible wave clear off of Rookie, the range off of Rookie and JiaQi, and TheShy's winning lane. Grubs should get a lot of value.
They should, and they definitely can. Trundle in the jungle at least.
Will they?
Should they? Could they? Will they? I guess. I'm not sure how that would... What did I say? They should.
You said they should and they can.
Oh, that doesn't really... Yeah. I definitely could have said that in a more rhyming way. Maybe I'll try to rhyme more. I don't know. Is that a good thing? Is rhyming intentionally a good thing? I know that rhyming like unintentionally is pretty cool. I don't know. What's your take on the rhyming situation?
Rhyming intentionally, I think it brings a whimsy to the broadcast. If you think about it, I mean, we've got some pretty whimsical casters on the LPL.
We do,
to be honest. So maybe it's better that you pick another lane. But I think in general,
yeah, I think I'd get beaten. I wouldn't describe myself as one of the most whimsical casters, but I mean, you can always, hang on. Dominus popped. Not going to be anything. You can always dip into other pools, I'm not a huge fan of the High School Musical, stick to the things you know. Get out there, be whimsical. Been reading Lord of the Rings recently. Long read, but very whimsical. A lot more whimsical than the movies.
I'm a big fan of the Lord of the Rings books. Got a lot going for him. So does this play. From Weibo or IG, I'm really not sure. Arrow is going to go wide. Recommit from Xiaohu does get caught by a nice encore from Meiko. That is a 3-man encore, but the bailout saves Xiaohu, gives him another chance at life, and unfortunately for Wei, gives Wei another chance at death. Taunt's going to connect onto Rookie, forcing the flash out of him. We are all pressing R once again, and IG are dying for it.
IG opt to take that play, looking to catch out the Galio. Shy in the top lane and JiaQi in the bot lane, getting some gold at least, so not the biggest losing play for them. But yeah, they take this fight. Weibo ready to retaliate with the paranoia, with the hostile takeover and the bailout. Looks pretty good for the Fires. We'll take a look back. So just Xiaohu caught on this ward. It feels like they have enough damage to chew through him quite quickly, but the paranoia comes through. There's tons of damage, and they can't quite get the kill. Onto this Nocturne. The Encore is nice, but this hostile takeover is great with the bailout as well. Xiaohu does kind of go a bit too far there. Rookie flashes, and some nice movement gets him a little bit. This fight is honestly just incredibly confusing because there's really no reason for it to happen. IG just like, no, Xiaohu, you can't be there. That's our ward. And they fight to the death for like 30 seconds over it. And it kind of goes a little even. Flash pulled out a Moham. That's nice.
Yeah, really nice bonus for IG. I will say, Renata likely not the first focus that they're going to have to deal with, but if it makes the kill easier, if it makes the cleanup easier, that's all good. Moham should always be in the back, throwing all of his cooldowns on other people and then just praying they win the fight. That's how you're supposed to play Renata, I think. That's how I play Renata.
Just the aura stand there and teleport out. Something to get used by way. It should be the top tower, but Paranoia in mid.
Pressing R again. But nobody else is pressing R. Thank you, Meiko, joining in the party. Unfortunately, Elk and Moham didn't quite have theirs to follow up. Otherwise, that almost guaranteed turns into a kill. Meiko quite low after just eating the Xiaohu ult. But with Paranoia on a pretty short cooldown at this point in the game, I'd expect to see that in the next 2-3 minutes.
So,
maybe even around Dragon.
Who's your favorite character in the Lord of the Rings then? It can be a book character if you're a bigger fan of the books, but I was talking to, who was it? Yanni, I think? Doesn't like it at all. It might have been Lord of the Rings that he really didn't like. I was shocked. Glad that someone else. I don't have to hold this point as Dragon's been started. IG not going to be in the area at all. Their Trundle is miles away, so Dragon taken by Weibo as they just get away with a successful heist.
Yeah, not bad. They even get flash out of the Shy as well. Maybe a bit of an unexpected bonus. Ripped Herald channeled in the mid lane for a bit of revenge, though. Maybe this mid lane tower going down. Nobody really in position from Weibo Gaming to respond to this. And that's another trade up for IG. They got the Void Grubs initially. That got a lot of value. They're turning that into a whole lot of plates. Plus the tower in the mid lane. This is a 2,000 gold lead off of what is otherwise pretty even game, but it's structures that are really making the difference for IG. Also, it's Tom Bombadil. If we're going by whimsy, it's Tom Bombadil.
I just got through that in the book. This is why I added the book, because I know he's not in the movie. And we were talking about whimsical rhyming. That's kind of who I was referring to. He just kind of sings the whole time. About himself and other things. Interesting character for sure. I don't really know what the reason that he was added in was. I'm not complaining, but it is definitely a weird section of the start of the book, especially when I've like seen the movies a ton as a kid, and then you read that part, and you're like, who is this guy? And then he like looks at the ring, doesn't really care, laughs about it. It doesn't affect him at all. Kind of base character, very whimsical though.
Yeah, I've not read the Silmarillion. There is a reason why he's just completely unfazed, and I don't know it. I am unfortunately a Rings of Power watcher. For those of you who feel elitist about the whole thing, but I can tell you that based on my experience, having read and watched the movies, if I were going to write the movies again, I would also probably cut that guy.
Oh, you wouldn't include it. It is a little bit of an awkward.
It's just a lot of time for like, you really got to care to like, and a lot of people going to the movies, they're just not going to care. I'm okay with that.
Especially these days. They'll be like, who's this guy? And then he never comes back. That's the other thing, to my knowledge at least. He has no impact on the story whatsoever. So it's like, why is this necessary? It's good, good character, funny. Very whimsical. Like we were mentioning. I don't know who would be. Maybe we'll have to do like a podcast thing. Who's the most whimsical caster? Quax's suits are up there for sure. They're pretty whimsical.
That is true. That is true. My first thought was Rafa. I feel like he's got a lot of just natural whimsy oozing out of him. But you make a good point about the suits. I think there are other aspects to the whole whimsy conversation that I haven't really considered in full depth.
Like what? Like we need like a list of dot points of what classifies whimsical. Like, what is there scaling? Like what's worth more? I think serious discussions happening on the LPL English broadcast right now.
I mean the fashion here really matters.
Got to be a part of it.
You know, we're not the most whimsical casting duo.
Definitely not.
We got a good amount of whimsy in here, but I don't think we have enough to get away with a 25-minute discussion about Lord of the Rings. So real quick, we're going to update you on the state of the game, with this being a largely IG-favored position. We got about a minute and a half until the dragon. IG control basically all of the river, and Xiaohu wants to contest it, does force flash immediately, but we are all pressing R again, and all of it is on top of Jiejie. Zika picks up the kill, and with the 80 carry assassinated, TheShy has to pick up the mantle. Rookie laying down a bit of damage as well, is gonna ult to zone off too, but IG have yet to pick up an answering kill. Zika flashing away surely is the one up on the chopping block, with Rookie and Meiko solo zoning the rest of Weibo Gaming. IG finally answer with Zika and can turn back onto the river, onto the dragon, which in 45 seconds should be rightfully theirs.
Can't believe that ends up in only a 1-for-1. JiaQi uses Flash Cleanse, the dive is everything on top of him, and Weibo kind of run out of steam pretty quickly after that happens. We'll take a look back here. Setup is good, but that blue orb is great. Just a moment of vision is enough. The pinch here from Zika is great as well. Onto the 80 carry. Hostile takeover, not the best, doesn't really hit anybody. The encore is great, but now you've run out of steam as Weibo. You can see that they kind of feel a bit stuck in the mud here. Like, what are we doing? This is no man's land. They start running backwards. So much consistent damage. Even though the Ashe is dead, coming out of a Victor and a Trundle Renekton. Back at live, though, might be around 2. Weibo on the dragon.
Getting ready to fight for this one. We knew it was going to come to this. Lots of summoners already blown. Lots of ults already used critically for Weibo. Their whole composition relies on pressing their ults. And right now, they can't really do it. Paranoia into the backline, though. That is a short cooldown onto JiaQi, who is flashless. Does end up in another 1-for-1. Top laner for top laner. IG still control this dragon for right now. Rather 1-for-2, as JiaQi is dead as well. My bad, guys. 2,000 left on this dragon, and it looks like it's going easily over to IG. Rookie again is able to lay out so much. Another beautiful encore just as Meiko dies. Wei is left alone, and Elk with the bailout can't actually be killed by dead. Rookie, who gets to walk this one out. Rookie picking up the kill.
Rookie single-handedly holding IG in this game. JiaQi again dies so early to the paranoia, nothing that he can really do. And like you said, TheShy ends up trading himself for Zika. But it's just Rookie holding the line. We'll take a look back here. This is the first engage. Top laner for top laner. And Paranoia from the distance kills JiaQi. Xiaohu does so much damage and no one can really stop him. TheShy falls down after zoning. So it's a 4-for-3, but Rookie on this Victor just does so much in terms of controlling the space, poking out important members, putting down the gravity well with the pillar to get the stun there is really nice. And then here comes the Arcane Storm to take down Moham, or at least out of the fight. Elk has to cleanse and he's so low. It's a 4 here, 4 versus 1, and if Rookie dies, it's Baron, and the burn is just enough to take him down and stop the potential Baron threat here. Rookie doing so much for his team in these fights.
Feels like the last game for Weibo, where they had Elk, who granted was doing a lot, much like I'm sure JiaQi could do a lot here, but you've got real AD carry, fake AD carry. And Rookie, not a real AD carry. But in this game, it's as real as it gets. You kill JiaQi, you got to deal with Rookie, who is really the damage of this team, is really the thing that nobody on Weibo can rightly deal with, especially as we get later and later into this game. And he continues to pick up items to make him more difficult to kill. Wei gonna grab a little bit of vision control in the enemy jungle. Weibo losing some critical ability to scout forward onto the Baron. Are going to try and reclaim that now. 2 minutes on the next dragon. We're 23 minutes into the game. Baron is realistic if we get picks on junglers, but it's not super high prio.
Elk the only lead on his team above the 300 Moham lead, which is completely irrelevant. And the thing with Kalista around objectives is it's probably the best smite secure in the game outside of Shogath. So you can time it with Xiaohu really easy, like 2,000 health, you get the kill. The problem is that Elk can't really do that. He's stacking up his what are they called? The needles, the spears. Of course, they're spears. Yep. He's stacking up the spears, the Ren stacks in the dragon, and Rookie is just pelting him with damage. There's a lot of range on the squishy members of IG, right? The Victor, the Ashe, the Seraphim provide a ton of ranged threat onto Kalista, who is very short range and really wants to be in your face. Also, because Elk has the Berserker's Greaves, which is not incorrect this game, there's a lot of auto attackers, he is completely at the mercy of Rookie in these fights. In the setups, Rookie's doing so much at keeping the Kalista from taking over. Later on, as Pillar comes out,
pressing one ult button. We've decided who the real AD carry is. But
Dead.
even with two of them, nobody really gets access. Xiaohu gonna get flashed on by JiaQi. Touching Rookie. Pretty difficult when he is as strong as he is. Able to walk things out. Not even expend the flash. And that's jungler and mid laner and all of the engage for Weibo. Wiped off the map. IG get to take another step towards making this series the 2-0 that they need it to be and start up the Baron. Will the three-man army of Weibo with 2 ults be able to change the course? Zika makes it 1, misses the public execution. And that's the play.
Yeah. Well, she wrote there, the engage from the Nocturne Galio, it's good. It's onto the same target, sure. But Zika's not around, can't layer the ult in, doesn't have a pincer as he did in one of those previous fights, and Elk is completely zoned away, hostile takeover. Not available when they go and touch the Baron again, or try to get onto the Baron, sorry, I should say. Weibo have this dragon stacking threat. It would be soul point if they got it. Also in a position that they could just give it over and make the dragons even if they want to. This is a lot of time off of Baron that's going to be wasted for IG. So I think that Weibo, the smartest decision here is to just stall. You're not going to win the fight, most likely. You're not going to get the dragon.
Sure, I was going to try.
So just, he might try with the paranoia.
Going to press ult soon.
Ren stacks.
3,000. Arrow comes
No way.
through, smite secured, and now we're committing to the back line. Nice encore is going to connect, but not in time to save JiaQi, not in time to save TheShy, who goes for the kill on Zika and actually finds the answer. Wei manages to, meanwhile, assassinate Elk, and Dragon does end up going to the side of IG. Rookie, in all of that, also managed to die. I want to take a look at the team fight again because of the amount of cooldowns that Weibo had to throw at him and what this might mean now that we didn't stall the dragon very long, but Baron's also ticking away.
Crazy that Wei gets this, by the way, with the Kalista stacks as well. I want to see the other side of the fight because I think Elk just absolutely dumpsters everybody here in the bot side. We will get to see it, which this is the part of the fight I'm interested about. So misses the pull on the spears. Like the smite is not linked up, but Elk is still happy to look towards it. Goes for the ult while Moham's at 1 HP. Really nice knock up. The hostile takeover, beautiful. But Elk with the bailout gets the kill here. Kind of really well played there from Elk, except the fact if we had gotten the dragon, that would have been a really good position because the Baron is completely worn off now. 30 seconds remaining. You've wasted the entire thing off of that fight and pulled most of them off as well. If you had gotten the dragon on that Ren stack smite, which I think Elk pulled them at a great time, Wei with some incredible reaction to win that smite fight, even up the dragons.
Elk is not going to get a whole lot stronger through the course of this game. He is, right now, extremely terrifying. And as we get later on, IG are going to have a whole lot more tools, a whole lot more ability to just deal with him via either club, gator, arrows. I suppose we'll find out what else, because Xiaohu has dived straight into the front line. That is an ace encore to turn the fight around. The Uno reverse guard has come out. It gets dealt right back. And Rookie actually found out by Zika's public execution is going to go golden. The big danger when dealing with a mage like this. The rest of Weibo surviving. A triple kill for Elk. And Zika picking up that final hit onto JiaQi. Leaves Weibo in a winning position. They win the fight. And back right away into the jungle.
Very close fight. Weibo are executing these dives pretty well. That's not an easy target. Rookie under the tower with Zhonya's. He still ends up going down. I think Wei catches here. Yep. Nice little bite out there. As I hope we get a look back at that fight. Rookie, no flash, ends up using the arm guard. So we will. JiaQi gets the free hit for a lot of this, but he just doesn't quite have the damage. Paranoia onto JiaQi layered with the hero's entrance again. Peel is good from his team. Encore is great too. Buys some time. JiaQi doesn't get hit with the hostile takeover, neither does Rookie, but he gets clipped by the public execution, and that's enough. We're diving a tier 1 tower here. Elk doing the damage. Zika doing the damage as well. Crazy to find that dive angle under the tower from Zika. Again, Rookie kind of saves it by eating the whole wave and nearly killing Xiaohu with the ult.
That tower is still up.
It is, and that was the main target there. If Rookie and JiaQi keep getting caught and dying in these fights, Weibo can, even despite the gold lead, really find a way back into this, because Elg is now a lot tankier than he was before with this Jack show. Could be GA, most likely GA. It's not Death Stance, Jack. He's not going Death Stance. I would be excited. It has a range modifier. He's going GA next, so he'll be pretty difficult to take down.
Lasagna is now complete for Rookie, so he will be able to pull off the stall again, hopefully in a slightly better position for IG. As a reminder, they are the ones with something to gain off of this game. They need this to be a 2-0. And getting the cleanse out of Elk, a good way to start. Weibo do have all their ults back up, which means that they are more or less ready to fight. And it could not come at a better time for Weibo, with 5 seconds left on the Dragon.
Could be threatening a Baron. We saw this situation in the last game. Paranoia.
This one onto Rookie, who's going to go golden, not saving him a lot of trouble, though that guy is still extraordinarily dead. Rookie gets blown up, and the rest of IG trying to kite back in. A huge knockup is going to land. Meiko flashing away. TheShy still up, but with JiaQi, an afterthought. It is a double kill that gets picked up by Elk, and Weibo's easy to execute composition is paying dividends 32 minutes in. An ace just got completed.
That is a ridiculous catch there from Weibo. They know Rookie is the target now. They take him down so early. If that corridor fight had happened before, Rookie would just tear them apart. Moham with the 4-man knock-up off of the Fate's Call from Elk, and that might just be the game. I think it is. 10 seconds left. Weibo find a miracle fight and win the entire game off of it.
Xiaohu's dead, but the towers are melting. There's no way for IG to come back from this. IG, with this game, will be denied their chance at first seed by a vengeful Weibo Gaming.
What a game from Weibo. What a bounce back. I'd love to see that fight again in the highlights, because it was a long fight, but that was a very impactful hostile takeover from Renata. Hit everybody. Elk not only found the angle to get Moham in with a 4-man knockup, but then did so much damage in the fight. It felt like IG in their early fights, JiaQi was dying, but Rookie was providing so much space, and then Rookie was then the target. And if he's dying early to these, place a blue orb down ult, immediately with the Paranoia hero's entrance, IG just didn't really have enough to, AoE down everybody as they would have with the Victor.
Yeah, I mean, I really anticipated that this game would go differently because Rookie should be in better positions generally, be more peelable, be a lot safer. But when it came down to that fight, Rookie's on an island, and Weibo have the snap engage to punish it. And that really mattered for them. The simplicity of their composition really working in their favor as well. I know it was a 50-50 thing as to whether it would work out or not. Even in draft, we were going, well, is this the best comp? No. Is it the easiest comp? Yes. And that ease of use really worked in Weibo's favor during this second game to get them to this position where they are, despite being down and out in terms of the playoffs, still able to take a game off of a team that they know are going.
Yep, looked pretty good in that game. I want to talk about Zika. I mean, tough time in the top lane, some really hard fights, but then back-to-back, some pretty important engages on the Ambessa. I think even though Xiaohu was heroically sending it every single time, it's got to be an Elk player of the game. Look at the gold graph in this game. That is an LPL gold graph if I've ever seen one. Some dips, but then a massive one at the end from a couple of, maybe 1,000 or 2 up to 5,000 down in a matter of moments. I'm really excited to see this fight back again because I think this hostile takeover from Moham was massive. The kill participation was massive. There's a lot of votes here that you could give for player of the game. I think Moham did well. Elk obviously popped off, and Xiaohu with his heroics, finding a lot of those engages.
Yeah, this is tough for me because on one hand, Elk was incredibly powerful at games and was the player that I was the most scared of by far. But I mean, Xiaohu, for better or worse, was starting these fights, and towards the end of the game, the fact that they all came up better kind of makes me want to give it to Xiaohu. That's where my vote would go. If I got a vote, the AI gets a vote, but we don't get a vote.
No, yeah, we don't. That would be very nice, though. It would be cool. But, yeah, you can see even in this first fight here, they're going for Jiejie as opposed to Rookie. This is another fight, I believe. That was quite a few Dragon fights, but where the Paranoia comes from the side here, lands onto Jiejie, and he's taken down, but Rookie lives. So in these first couple of fights, it's the target selection onto the AD carry, and Rookie lives and provides so much AoE damage, they can't quite close the gap onto him anymore. And in the later fights that we'll see, it is Rookie that's the target of the Paranoia, of the engage from Weibo as a whole. And when he's gone, he can't do this, where he's 1 versus 4, finds the kill onto Elk, and basically single-handedly stops the Baron, which would have completely changed the game. This is the first time they do end up targeting Rookie, and he completely lives. Really nice zoning from Wei. But after this, Rookie is dying every time.
I'm actually excited for these replays as well, because this was a weird death from Rookie. I know that it's well played to Weibo as well, but even in this engagement, I did not think that Rookie was just going to die in the river. The rest of the fight goes all right. It's more or less even, but this is the most even that it gets. And from here, we've got a tipping point where it goes from Weibo, or sorry, from IG winning these fights to Weibo winning these fights in a pretty handy manner. This, the perfect example of it.
Yeah, really tough dive angle. Just the freehand public execution from Zika. Not the easiest ability since the changes. A lot of people have been struggling, but finds it anyway. This is the last fight. Vision onto Rookie. Even through the Zonyas, everyone is committing to kill Rookie. Encore is great, but the hostile takeover is beautiful. And then here's the 4-man knockup with the Fate's Call. Moham finding this engage while Elk sidesteps everybody to get the perfect angle in. And then the fight just explodes from there. No AoE damage from Rookie because he's dead. Jiejie's taken down, and then Elk just absolutely pops off, and that is the winning fight there. I love the mechanics from Elk to be dashing to the side so that Moham can get the angle. Instead of hitting just the front, he hits it from the side. so that Moham can knock up all 4. And Weibo, that feels like a very all-or-nothing play. You have to all send it in there, or the game's kind of over. Similar to that fight we saw around Baron, where Rookie gets dove on, he's full health. Rookie lived, he was full health, he Zhonya's, and then everyone is flashing in to make that play a reality. So really nice team play there from Weibo. And it will be Elk on the Kalista getting the player of the game for this second game.
Nice. 80 carries back-to-back. Trading blows, trading haymakers in this series, and Elk very deserving of this one. As you mentioned, Jbetto, I mean, we were, I wouldn't say spoiled for choice. It's not like we could have gone anywhere, but there were a lot of reasonable arguments to be had for a lot of the members of Weibo Gaming, and Elk, a very deserving member, especially with, like, you're talking about the micro on the Kalista, to make these all-or-nothing fights be shifted in their favor at a point where it seemed like IG were on the verge of completely taking over the game and overshadowing Weibo in this series. Make no mistake, that game was about IG. That game was about whether they would be able to close things out in 2-0 fashion, move on to NIP. Weibo deny that dream in the same way that IG denied theirs in game number 1. This third game, nobody's moving. IG are not getting the chance to move up a seed. Weibo are not going to magically make their way back into the play-ins. But this third game has got a lot of malice behind it on both sides. Weibo and IG have a bone to pick with each other, both having denied crucial opportunities in this season. Who's going to come out on top? Who's got a little bit more gumption and energy left in them as